Hi guys, welcome back. I am Ashwin Baburao from Beatworx Studio here in Bangalore. So one of the things that I want to talk about today that happens a lot with us artists, musicians and producers is we often lose files. And trust me, that's the biggest nightmare when you lose your music, when you lose your projects, or when you lose your pictures, videos from gigs. So I've always been trying to find very efficient ways to, have backups of my files. Of course, I have them stored on a hard drive. I have them stored on my phone as well. But I think in today's world, the safest way is to have it on a cloud storage. So recently, these guys from pCloud got in touch with me about a fantastic piece of software that they have, which is essentially a cloud storage platform where you can upload files and you can do a whole bunch of things and basically share them, receive files from other people, and do a whole bunch of things, like I said. So I've been using pCloud for the last 1 week. I'm really impressed with the speed, with the interface, with the security, the privacy policy, all of that. So today I'm going to sort of just dive in and show you some of the things that you can do on pCloud and how I've been using it. So just forgive me, I'm not super familiar with it. I've not been like diving very deep into it. But at the same time, I wanted to do this review to be as honest as possible so you guys see how easy it is to use. So I'm just going to dive right in. I have downloaded pCloud. I have got an account which gives me 2 TB of storage. So I'm going to dive right in and show you how this whole thing works. So what I have here is the pCloud browser interface. Once you log into your pCloud account, this is the first screen that you're going to get. So let's first talk about some of the features that are available here, and then we will take a look at the app as well. So when I go over here to the files section, I can click browse and I will see a few default folders that pCloud has already created for me. So you can go ahead and start creating some of your own folders. So let me just go ahead and create a new folder, in fact, by pressing the new folder button. So I am going to call this music backup. So I'm probably going to use this folder to put a bunch of my music that I carry with me for my DJ gigs in case my laptop were to fail or my pen drive were to fail. I can have a sufficient amount of my music here. I am also going to create another new folder called Ableton Projects. So I can use this folder essentially to store all my Ableton projects, and this is a great way to make sure that you're never going to lose any of your music and you always have that available. So of course you have some standard options here such as share and invite to folder, which we will talk about a little later. But you also have some file management options like to download the folder, request files, copy, move, rename, create an archive, delete, and so on. So let's first start by populating one of these folders with some music. So I'm going to go ahead and upload a few files over here. So you'll see that there are two great ways of uploading files. You can browse for files within your computer, or you can use a remote upload where you can specify a link to a file and it will directly fetch the file from the specified link. But make sure that it has to be a direct link. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and add some music on here. So maybe I will just go to this folder and add a bunch of tracks. So let's just hit upload. That's some of my music that I use for DJing. So the nice part is while it's uploading, I can keep this tab minimized and continue working as I wish to. But let me open it back up and check the status. Great. So it also shows me each time a file is completed, and if anything were to fail, it would appear here. So let me minimize this and we can explore a few other features while these files are being uploaded. Now the next section that I want to talk about is the public folder. This is a great way for you to share files with the public without having to generate a link for each folder or each file. This is sort of a static public folder. Now this would be really useful if you were giving out like a bunch of presets, you were giving out a bunch of samples, and you were just giving out a bunch of different things. So you could use the public folder for that. So let me show you how it works. Usually when you come in here, your public folder would be disabled. This is how you would see an enable button. As you can see, you can use this to even host a static HTML website, embed images, or have direct links to files. So I'm going to enable the public folder. And when I open the public folder, I have just one file over here which I had uploaded earlier. So let me get rid of that. I'm going to delete this file. So once I delete it, there's nothing to worry because it goes into a trash folder where your files will still remain there for the next 30 days. And you can even in fact expand that. So you really have no worries about losing your files. Now I am going to go ahead and create a few new folders here. Let's say I was giving away a bunch of samples, right? So I could say sample bank, and I could put in all the samples that I want to give away here. Let's say I had a bunch of presets that I was giving away, so I could put them over here. Let's say I was giving away some projects, which I can also put over here. So if I populate all of these files or these folders with files, I would go here to the public folder section, and this is the link that I need to share with someone. So if I share this link with anyone, they would just be able to access my public folder and access all the files available there. So in order to demonstrate that, I am going to open an incognito tab so that I'm not logged into my account, and you'll see how this works. So here we go. I have a private tab and I put the link in here. As you can see, it's loading, and here we go. I have the folders that I created, but I obviously don't have any files within the folder, so they're not showing up at this point of time. So this is a great way for you to just give access to someone that wants to access a bunch of files to like a public, or you could embed this on your website. So there are a lot of ways that you could possibly use this feature. Let's go back to our upload manager. We can see all our files are uploaded, which is a fantastic thing. So let's go back to the browse section. Let me go to my music backup. So I have all the tracks here. So one of the nice things about pCloud is I can actually play the tracks here like a playlist. I have a very basic bare bones music player that will also let me sort of, move tracks up and down. You can see the track started to play. I can even sort of make these into like a little playlist, which is a very, very handy thing, especially for musicians. So what I want to do is I want to show you some of the operations that we can do to the files over here. I can select all of these files and I can create an archive. So this is a great way where if you have a bunch of files and you don't want to generate like single links for each of them, you just want to sort of put them all together into an archive and send it over to someone. This is a fantastic feature. This is something I really like. So I'm going to go ahead, create an archive and call it music backup. And I'm going to hit the create button. So as you can see, the archive is being created at this point of time. So let's give it a couple of minutes probably, and the archive should be ready. So this is also a background process, so I can close this box anytime without interrupting it. So let's just hit the close button and we can come back to the archive when it's ready. Now I can also select all of these files and download it, of course. I can share a link which is going to share all of these files into one link. So I could either use this or I could use an archive. An archive is sometimes better in the fact that somebody could download it and unzip it. So I can give this link a name and say music shares, generate a link. So now a link is generated, which is a link for all of these files put together. Now this is one of the features I also really like with pCloud. So I can choose if the user that I share the link with can preview and download the files, or they can only preview the files. So based on that, the user will be able to do operations. So let me hit the save button, for example, copy the link once again, go to a new browser, incognito, and hit the link. So right now, I will have access to all of these files, except I will not be able to download them. I will only be able to listen to them. Now, this is a great way if you want to send your files to somebody where, maybe it could be a client, it could be someone that you're working with, and you sort of want to give them access to streaming the high resolution AIFF file, but you don't want to allow them to download it. This is a fantastic option. You see, I don't get any other options here other than being able to view the files. Now, if I go back and say preview and download and save this back, and it's the same link. So I'm going to go back, open it up again. Now you will see that I will also be able to download each file separately. So let's give this a second. Here we go. I now have an option to download the selected file or save it to my pCloud. I can further share this same link onto my Facebook or Twitter if I prefer. I mean, why would I do that? I wouldn't do that, but here we go. So the next option that we have when it comes to sharing music is I can protect this with a password. So I'm just going to give it a password and say protected with a password. It has to be 6 characters long. So I have given a 6-character long password. So let's go ahead now, open it up again, and you will see that now the share will ask me for a password. Now this is a great way to protect your files, especially if you have something in the public domain. You could possibly set up a link, where somebody has to buy the password or any sort of situation like that. This could be really, really handy. So now if I enter the password, I will be able to view all the contents that are there. So let's go back and switch off the password protection for now. Now I can set an expiry date. I can say this file should not be available after a certain time. So let me just go ahead, and the current time is 14:01. So I'm just going to set it to 14:03, which is a couple of minutes from now. The link should expire. So I will just go ahead again, open the link, keep the link over here, which seems to be working now with the password. I think maybe it could be running from the cache. So the password protection is still on. Let's switch it off. I forgot to hit the save button. Sorry, that was my bad. So I have an expiry date set now, which is 14:03, and in about a minute the link shouldn't work. In the meanwhile, I also have a branding that I can do for this page. So let's say I can add a cover image. So I'm just going to upload a little cover image, and let's see how that's going to play out. So yeah, I have a cover image that I've updated, and maybe I can even add another image which could possibly be a logo. So let me pick a logo that I have here. Fantastic. And I hit the save button. So I also have a nice branding that is now done for my page with a cover photo. So let me close this. And now it's asking me if I want to apply this branding for all the shared links or only the newly created ones. Yes, I would like to apply it to all the shared links. So I can go ahead, click the yes button. Okay, maybe just hit the no button. I am now good to go. Let's see now that it's 2:03 if that link is actually disabled, because I had set a little expiry on that. Wonderful. Works just the way it's meant to. The link has now expired as per the expiry that was set by me. So now, if you're trying to find the link that you just generated, because I had selected a bunch of files, if you remember, and created that link, right? So in order to find that link, I can find all of them in my shared section over here. If I go here, I can see the shared link that was generated, but because I had set an expiry date, that link has now completely expired. But now if I come back to files and I go back into my music backup folder, let me create a new share link with this archive. So I'm going to hit the share button, and this time I have no expiry set, and maybe I will do the same thing, which is add a cover. In fact, let me add the logo first, and now let me add a cover. So once I add a cover image and save this file, and save these settings, close it. Now I have this link available here in the shared links section. I can edit the branding directly off here if I prefer to. You can show or hide the preview just like it was, right? And I can use this to change any of the settings that I have created with this link. Now this is a really useful feature, because when you create multiple links, when you generate a bunch of different links, right, sometimes you may want to save each of those links. Now I have one link generated for this entire archive. Let's say I make another link for a bunch of other files and call this tunes, and just generate a link again. I don't want to modify any of the settings. Now let's say I want to generate another link for this folder. I would do it again, and I don't have to bother about copying all of these links and saving them, because that's exactly what the shared section does. It will show you all the links that you've created. It will also show you any volume of traffic, downloads, and other statistics that have happened with this particular folder. As you can see, I have this link tunes, which I created with just a bunch of files, which is right here. I have the music backup.zip, which I can again download or save to my pCloud, and it's appearing with the branding that I created. So I can also see if I've shared any folders here. Over here in the folder section, I can also see if I have shared any links to any folders that are shared with me, and any folders that I have shared with the world. So let's go over back to files and maybe share a few folders. Let me share the link to this folder. And this time I also want to talk about the short link function. So I can just hit the create button and I can get a shorter link, which is more convenient to embed when you're making a social media post or when you're sending it across to someone. I can even delete that if I want to. So I am going to share a few more folders. I'm going to take this My Music folder, share this as well, and create a short link again, which I can copy and send it off or use it in my posts. Now, when I go back to my shared section, I can see all my shared links, including my folders, but I don't still see anything under my shares, under my shared folder. So we'll come back to that in just a moment. Now, the next section that I want to talk about after we finish the browse is the rewind section. Now, if I were to delete any files, so let's go back to my browse folder and let's go to my music backup. I am going to get rid of this music backup.zip archive that I created. So I'm just going to hit the delete button. I can delete it and it's done. So now if I go into my trash folder, I can see all the files that I've deleted are here. And I can also keep the files here for up to 30 days. I can even extend the time that I keep the files to by making a small payment, which will extend it further to a year, which is fantastic, which can be very, very handy. But I think 30 days is great. So I'm just going to go back into the folder. And if I wish to restore it, I can click here and say restore. I hit the restore button and here we go. I have my file in my music backup folder just the way it was. So another thing that I can do with an archive is I can also extract the archive. So I can extract the archive back into the same folder if I want to, and I can use this as a great way when I have zip files to sort of view their content and extract them right here. Anyway, we have seen all the features here. Some of them are self-explanatory, like the download, the copy, the move, and the rename. So we're not really going to look at that. Then you have the rewind button, which can basically rewind your drive back to a certain date. It's kind of like the Apple time machine. So where you can just sort of, go back and rewind it to a certain date or a certain time, and you will get your file content as it was. So if I were to rewind it to, let's say, an hour ago, so I'm going to hit the rewind button. So this is exactly what I had an hour ago. I did not have the new files that I'd uploaded. So if I go back to 2 and if I rewind, I can see. So this is a great way for you to sort of, go back to a certain date if you remember that, okay, this is the date that I uploaded the file. When you have a lot of content populated here, this can be absolutely useful. Right, so now we've explored all of the features in the file section. Let's go over to the backup section. So we can do a lot of really nice things here, which are mostly going to work with the app. So I'm going to show you the app in just a second and show you how it works. So you can use this to back up your entire Mac or your entire desktop. You can use this to obviously store all your folders, like your desktop folders, your download folders, everything, and literally manage your entire backup. You can also obviously do that with your mobile as well, from both the iPhone and the Android. You can upload your entire photo library and keep it all safe over here. Then you have some third-party integrations, which are very cool. You can link it up with your Google Drive, with your OneDrive, Facebook, Dropbox, Google Photos, and connect all of these, and you can use them also to sort of back them up, which is absolutely a very cool feature. You also have the crypto folder, where you can store things that are absolutely secret. You can use this to really store files that nobody can have access to, because this will use another layer of crypto password, and once it's forgotten, it can never be restored. So remember that this is an absolute fail-safe method to store your files very securely. Now, one of the most interesting features that I wanted to talk about is this feature of creating a folder where other people can upload content for you. Now, this could be very useful if you're a label and you're looking to get some demos, or if you're an artist and you want people to send you promos, or whatever the reason is. And if you want to use a way for you to get files from other people, this is the way to do it. So let's create a new folder, and I'm going to call it inbox. Okay, so now all I need to do is go to this folder and click on this and say request files. So I'm going to add a custom message here. When this link is open, say send me your new demos, make sure it's at 0 dB and fully completed. Thank you. I'm going to save. Now I can set an upload limit. If I say how much users can upload from the file request. So now if you don't want people spamming you with something, that's not relevant, you could use this feature, set an upload limit. I'm not going to do that right now. I am also going to set an expiration date if I want to. So once the link expires, it will not be accessible as usual, but I actually don't want it in this case. So I have the link generated. Now this is my personal Dropbox folder where people can send me music. So if I were to go back and open it in an incognito tab as per usual, now it says Ashwin is requesting some files from you. And here's the message that I've put across. You can click, and let's say I am going to add a few videos over here. I'm going to add these 4 videos, and I'm going to say observe it, upload. So as you can see, there's an upload manager. The speeds are quite fantastic. So while this happens, one of the things that I want to tell you about pCloud is the fact that these guys are really nice. These guys are really committed to what they're doing. I know this for a fact because they reached out to me and they're very interested in working with musicians. And I think they're trying to sort of build this platform exclusively for musicians with some of the features that they have here, which could be really, really handy. So I would definitely consider using pCloud even for saving my projects, for saving my music, for receiving files like this from people. So I have a lot of things that I do, right? Like I could use like an inbox folder like I just did now for receiving promos from my friends. I could use another folder for receiving demos for my label. I also run a school and a nightlife agency. I could use one for all the artists to sort of maintain their own press kits and their videos and things like that. The possibilities are literally limitless, and these are some of the things that I really like about pCloud, and the fact that they're very open to listening to what the users want and sort of providing these functionalities. Anyway, right now the files are uploaded, so I can close this browser, and if I go back to my inbox folder now, I see a new file, a new folder in fact created with all the files that I just uploaded. So I can in fact click and it will start playing the video that I just uploaded. So it's just taking a few seconds to stream, which is normal. It's quite a high resolution video file in there. Fantastic. So there you go. Every time somebody uploads a set of files, it's going to create a new folder and it's going to have the files contained within that, which makes it really, really, really useful for not having things cluttered. One of the things that I also like is I get email notifications every time a file is uploaded, which is really nice. So you know when somebody's uploaded something or when you've got something coming through, right? Now, I can go back into my browse folder and I can mark up a few files as bookmarks if I like to. For example, I can choose this file and I can basically star the file, which is supposed to appear here. Be patient with me because I haven't been using pCloud for very long now. I've barely been using it for a week and I am also sort of finding my way around. So let me see, because I think that's the most honest way to do a review, where I am just sort of navigating as I go. So what I want to do essentially is I want to star the file so I have faster access to it. Or do I have to do it in from here? Let me see. There is no right click. Okay, there is a right click option. There is a folder info option. Maybe I can do it to a file, add to playlist, add to player, share, download, delete, copy, move, rename. Well, I think this has gotten the better of me. I can't seem to find a way to bookmark the file. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it's not something that is out of the ordinary. I just have to sort of figure where the option would be. Moving on, we also have this section called audio, wherein I can just see a list of all the audio files that exist on my drive. I have artists, albums, and playlists which I can create and save. This is actually quite useful. Let's actually try making a playlist. Let's call it music, and let's add some music into this playlist, shall we? Add to playlist, add. There we go. Let's actually select multiple tracks and add them to this playlist. So now I can come back here and I can see this playlist called music, which has a bunch of music selected. Now I see this being very useful to send out demos actually. Sometimes of course SoundCloud is the standard platform that most of us use for sending demos, but I can see this being a really nice way to send out demos with high resolution files whenever that is necessary. Excellent. So I think this pretty much wraps up everything that you can do with pCloud in terms of the browser. So let's now talk about the extension and how it works on your computer. So I have the pCloud app running over here. So I can see all the notifications for everything that has been going on over here. So I can, let's get rid of these notifications. In fact, yeah, here we go. So here I can go starting with my preferences. This is where I have all my account information set up, and this is where I can set up my backup, which I was talking about. So I can choose all these folders and say backup, and they will all automatically be backed up as they get updated. I have the synchronized folders option, so I can add folders in here and they will behave as if they were a local folder, but they are also on the pCloud drive. So it's sort of going to be like a folder that's on the cloud, but also synced with your computer in real time. So anything that you do to that folder is also going to affect what happens locally and on the cloud. Now here I can see all the shares that I had created, all the links that I have here, the bookmarks, which is pretty much the same thing as what you have over here. Then you have file requests. This is the inbox that I created where I can request for files, access to the crypto settings, other general settings where you can enable uploading screenshots that you take directly if you'd like on your computer, setting speed limits, disk usage, extensions, and so on. Now on your computer, this essentially works like a drive. You're going to see a drive show up here. So you can literally see all the files that are here. So if I were to go to this music backup folder, and if I were to delete this file directly off my computer, I get an option saying that it will be deleted immediately and I cannot undo this action. Remember, this is not going to go into your trash. It's going to directly just get deleted. As you can see here, it's done, it's gone. So if I come back to the music folder, the file is gone, but obviously it remains in the trash folder. Now if I want to, I can select all of these and say delete forever, and it's gone after one final warning. You cannot recover them anymore. So there we go. That is pCloud for you and how it works. I, for one, have really been enjoying using it for the last couple of weeks. And if you're a musician, I would definitely urge you to check it out as well. Another really nice thing that you can do is you can work collaboratively on projects. You can create a folder, for example, have your project files, have all your samples in there, and a couple of people can be working on them simultaneously as well. While you're saving the samples, everything reflects and will change in your DAW as well. Maybe I'm going to ask a couple of my colleagues from the music production department to try this and see how this works. But this is all for now. But what I want you guys to remember is they are going to be having a huge sale, I think, on Cyber Monday and Black Friday, which is coming up really soon. I'm going to drop the links below. So if you guys are interested, sign up using those links. And if you have any feedback, just send it across to them or put it below in the comment section. Really nice guys, and I've had a great pleasure working with them. And it was wonderful to do this for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this little review. And I hope you get on board and start using pCloud soon. Until next time, bye-bye.